welcome to the Technical Staff and Theatre Workers podcast. It's the podcast in which I talk to people who work backstage in the technical theatre industry about how they got in, their experiences, and any advice they can give to anyone getting in. This is episode 3 of season 4. A big thank you to everyone who's downloaded the show, everyone who's listening to the show. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know who's interested in theatre and those who aren't interested in theatre, because it might make them interested in theatre. Yes, thank you so much for all the downloads. It's been really good so far, so really enjoying it. And without further ado, let's get on to our next guest. I'm here with my guest at this time. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell me what your current job title is.
My name is Patrick Stanier, more often known as Patch, and I'm currently the resident production and stage manager at ABBA Voyage at the ABBA Arena, and also do some freelance show calling and stage management.
Excellent. And it really has been a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, probably more than 10 long years.
Yeah,
but yes.
yes, probably more close to 15 years since I last saw you. I'm sure.
This is lovely, though. Thanks for asking.
It's
great to be here.
Thank you for doing it. How did you get into theatre?
I got into theatre, I think, like a lot of people. It was an introduction at secondary school. I was at a school where there was a really active drama department, and so I sort of ended up kind of getting into the drama amateur drama club through that. So did end up in a few shows. Which I really, really enjoyed. And we had, in the very small town where I grew up, there was a brilliant amateur dramatic society as well. And so I ended up kind of getting involved with them. So some of it on stage. And then when I started to kind of find out more about shows and putting on shows, and ended up doing a performing arts GMBQ, which was a new course that kind of came in when I was doing A-levels. That really opened the doors, because it was kind of like, right, what are we looking at? And there was much more information, lighting, sound, stage management, and then I think my eyes were really open to that. So, yeah, on stage, and then through that kind of finding out more about backstage worlds.
Yes, excellent. So you started on stage, and it was once you'd found out that you could do the backstage. Was it then? That's what you wanted to do.
Changed. Then stuff really, really changed. My local job. Well, so then I did a work experience when I was probably about 16, and that was my local theatre in Hereford. And then I started to become a casual there. So that was my Saturday job, and I loved it. So I was in there kind of every weekend doing load-ins, load-outs for different departments, and then sort of meeting different people that came through, and that there was kind of a little light bulb moment. And then especially when I found out about calling shows and DSMs and how that part of the show runs, then that I was really interested in.
Oh, brilliant. And so did you train?
I did. So I went to Guildhall School of Music and Drama and did their stage management and technical theatre course, which it's a bit different now, but at the time it was a very broad-based course. So it was 3 years, and the first kind of 2 terms were to kind of bring everyone up to the same, ballpark same kind of level.
Right, yeah.
And then you had to do a little bit of everything over the next 4 terms. So that was split into stage management, costume, props, lighting, sound, construction, paint shop as well. So it was.
So that gives you more of an idea of what you wanted to go into, which is good.
And also by doing that, it meant that it opened up other departments for everybody that was on the course. I had friends who went in going, no, I'm definitely going to do lighting, and then have come out and sort of were pulled into the wonderful world of audio. So, it was great to be able to do that. And then in your final year, you specialised. You did 4 kind of allocations that you had to go and do.
Right.
And that's what you kind of got assessed on.
Excellent. Cool. So what was your first paid job, then your Saturday casual work?
Yeah, I guess it was.
What was your first show?
Okay, so my first properly paid job would have been Courtyard Theatre in Hereford as casual technician. In terms of shows that went through, loads of shows went through there, because it was a very small regional receiving house. So loads of shows got through there. To pick one, definitely couldn't. I think after that, it probably would sit in the world of when I was at drama school and was able to kind of go in depth.
Right.
So I started as a audio. I did some stage management depping and some audio depping.
Right.
So it would probably be on either Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat when it was at what was the New London Theatre.
Wow. Okay.
As an ASM. And I did audio there as well as ASMing.
Cool.
As a
cool.
dep.
Whereas my first paid job was an amateur dramatics version of Copacabana. So that
sounds great.
That shows the differences in where we came up. Now you've been in this industry for a long time. I believe you've done quite a few jobs. Give us a list of other jobs you've done before we go on.
Other jobs I've done. So I left drama school and was very, very fortunate. I'd sort of met some people through depping and coming to end drama school. There was a position that opened up at Theatre Royal Drury Lane on Anything Goes.
Wow,
So
okay.
I walked out of drama school and into that. So there was an ASM that was leaving and they needed someone for 2 months. And so I got a phone call saying, would you like to come and do this? And I was like, absolutely, I would. Thank you very
Awesome.
much. And like walking into Drury Lane, having just graduated from college, was an unbelievable experience. Like, the show was beautiful. The venue is amazing.
Yeah.
And I just literally walked straight out of college into this job. And it was a glorious place to be.
Yeah.
But what was weird is then turning up at that job and everyone kind of going, "Oh, what are you doing after this?" I was like, I've got this. I've got 8 weeks of work. I've literally just been a student, so I haven't thought about that. So Anything Goes. I did a couple of plays. I did a brilliant little Agatha Christie play called And Then There Were None. Sinatra at the Palladium, Sound of Music. And they were all as ASM roles. And then I did Carousel, Waiting for Godot, Monty Python at the O2, a whole load of time with Ghost the Musical, and that was sort of the start of my international touring. A little bit on Cats, and then another chunk with Blue Man Group, and then that basically brought me to ABBA Voyage.
Yes, of course, with Love Never Dies in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah, I skipped over that.
Yeah.
Yes, I did Love Never Dies. There's a few I skipped over. Love Never Dies. Yeah, that was it brought us together.
Yes, as we've just been talking about, it was an experience.
It was an experience.
I think it's the best way you can put it.
It was definitely an experience. It was just like we said earlier. It's one of those contracts that I'm really glad I did.
Yeah, wouldn't do it again.
I would think long and hard about doing it again.
Certainly wouldn't do the whole thing. I mean, you didn't do the whole thing, but I did. But certainly wouldn't do all 19 months again.
No, I did my initial contract, and then I quietly bowed out. But it was an amazing show to be part of, and it went through many iterations, and it was an incredible little ride to be.
It certainly was.
To be on.
Yes, I mean it's one of those that I think it'll kind of go down in folklore as, you know, we were there when that happened, and then we seem to be at a construction site. I'm sorry about that.
It's definitely got that kind of vibe to it.
It does.
Lovely, yeah.
Yeah, we were there when it happened, and people, and then you'll get the next generation will go, oh, this show was on, and I know somebody who was there when.
You were there when
that.
Yes, we were part of that crew of people that were around for Love Never Dies.
Yes, those poor souls. Have you, in your long tenure in this industry, ever come across any issues? Anybody holding you back, naming no names? Any prejudices?
No, I really don't think I have.
No?
I had a little think about that before I came in. No, I've been really lucky in that. Well, I say lucky. I just don't think that's been something that's come off my radar, which has been lovely.
Excellent, that's good to know. What are the pros and cons of working in this industry?
Pros are, I mean, it's not a real job, is it?
It's not work.
It is a real job, but it is not sitting in an office, and I love that. It's just brilliant. So many days are different, and ultimately we're putting on a show which is there to make people laugh, feel something, cry, whatever. So I love being part of that process, and it's amazing, especially when you are in rehearsals. If you're opening a show, going from whatever that conception is, to then sort of seeing it through to rehearsals and being part of that technical process to then opening night and show opening on stage. It's a great rewarding thing to be part of.
Yeah, I find I was thinking about this the other day. When you're doing a show, especially if you do a show from scratch, I find you become so emotionally invested in that show that you know everybody moans and whinges about the show they're on, but if somebody from the outside complains about it, you get really defensive about it, don't you? It's like your family. It's like if somebody, you know, you can badmouth your family, but if somebody else does it, you're like, hang on a second, okay. Whoa, that's not cool. So yeah, you become very emotionally tied into shows, and even old shows that you were on before. I think it's that kind of thing that gets you, and I don't think other industries are like that.
I don't think other industries, are like that, and I think also I have made some really amazing friends because of that. Yeah. Because again, keep harking back to Love Never Dies. You go through a show which was essentially that was a contract of extended tech. Yeah. And so it's very long hours. It can be challenging, and you're with a group of people that you really rely on every day, and you forge some great friendships out of that. And it's an interesting one because I think you can be friends with lots of people, and it's a different experience when you work with them. Yes. And so theatre has that great kind of ability to throw you into a situation where you have to work together, and if you really get on, it's actually an amazing foundation for some lovely friendships. Yeah.
What are the cons?
Cons
other than the working hours.
The work-life balance has been talked about before, and that's definitely one. I think it is getting better. It would be really lovely if there could be a bit more of a move in that direction to make it a little bit easier for, people on the whole, especially people with families. Like I know that there's a little bit of a contradiction in terms of you're having to work when everybody else is in leisure time. Yes. And that's absolutely part and parcel, and I totally kind of understand that. But being able to find a bit more of a balance would make it much more enjoyable, I think, for everybody, and a bit more sustaining.
Yes. Yeah, good. What would you say is a common misconception of somebody who's trying to get into the industry? So, somebody's trying to get in the industry, and they think the industry is one way, but it's not.
Potentially that it's all glamorous and and
that once the show is open, you never come in apart from to do the show.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You just come in, and I think that's a huge part, isn't it? That once the show is up and running, that's it. You just kind of turn it on, and
press play,
and off you go. And that's definitely the job that I'm on at the moment. That comes up as a bit of a conversation about, well, what do you do now? And I think people probably underestimate how much work goes into keeping a show running. Yeah. Like, the maintenance is massive, the rehearsals, do continue, and it's a constant process to kind of keep everything running in the way that it needs to.
Also, from a normal person, from an outsider's point of view, who maybe not necessarily trying to get into the industry, the illusion that nothing ever goes wrong.
Oh, if only they knew.
And they don't realise that probably 5 or 6 things go wrong every show. And because the longer you do shows, the more you get proficient in covering that they don't notice that. But and
contingencies get they get set from from fairly early on. You'll kind of go through scenarios on what to do if. Yeah. But then the more shows you do, you can refine those. People get a little bit more adept to responding to those types of things. So and it'd be a bit boring if it all went swimming.
Absolutely,
100% of the time.
Yes.
But I guess it's that balance as well between having a quote unquote perfect show. Yeah. And a show that you can potentially work around what the problems are and not let the audience know exactly what may have
what's just gone on. Also, talk to me before I go on to my last question. Talk to me about ABBA Voyage, because it's not your normal theatre show. In fact, how does stage managing a show like that differ from a theatre show, or does it differ? Is it the same?
It's the same but different. So it is not your average show. So we are operating in a purpose-built 3,000 capacity venue out in Stratford, And it's because of that, it's quite a labour-intensive project because it is a temporary structure. So on our dark days, there's an awful lot of building maintenance going on with that, just because it is not a permanent building. So you've got to keep on top of things there.
Yeah.
Stage management wise, it's different. So we've got a stage management team of 4, and it takes sort of 2 of us to actually run the show, but we only have 3 on site. And we have 10 live musicians on stage, so we're sort of responsible for looking after them. And you still have automation working, you still have lighting, you still have audio. We've still got wardrobe makeup team. So there is an awful lot of stuff that we are still responsible for coordinating.
Yeah.
So as our department is set up slightly differently because the show is put together for more of a ceremonies and events world.
Right.
So the main role for us is the show calling role, who is upstairs in the control room, and we coordinate all the different departments exactly as you would, kind of more as a DSM would do in a West End show or a traditional theatre show. And same kind of thing. We've still got a calling script. And there are still cues that we call, and we're getting automation to move various bits of set exactly where we need it.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So what advice would you give to anybody who's trying to get in the industry?
I think be open-minded to learning as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I'm really aware that I went down the drama school route, and it's absolutely not the way that you need to. I think there's so many other routes that you can do, and I think if you are keen in theatre and you're already on a bit of a path, then meeting people and doing the work experience is so important, and it makes a massive difference because an awful lot of this job it's small industry, and it's who you know, and how you get on with people. So also don't limit yourself in terms of just one department. As it's one of the really great things about the training that I did have is that it was so broad-based.
Yeah.
And, this is now 20-plus years ago. So I am absolutely not proficient enough to jump on a lighting desk and do, any sort of programming fixes there.
Yeah.
But the idea of how the desk works, I have in my back pocket. So I understand the process that people are going through when you are in tech or you are fixing a problem.
Yes.
And again, if you can do that for as many departments as possible, you're just more useful. And it's incredibly valuable when you've got something breaking and other departments can just chip in because you've just got an awareness of what support they might need.
Brilliant. Excellent. And that's everything I've got for you. So
brilliant.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, big thank you to Patch there. That was great. I really enjoyed that one. I've not seen him in a long time, so it's really great to catch up with him. We talked for about an hour after we recorded that, so hopefully we might have Patch on again at some point in the future. Thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you so much for downloading it. It's been really great, really loving it so far, and long may it continue. Thank you to all the guests that have been on, and I shall see you all next week.